Welcome to CCTV, aka the Cultural Connotations channel.
Bringing you misguided stereotypes, racially charged comments, and cultural appropriation.
I'm Anson.
Brian here.
So as part of our filming of the Australian series, we thought it was really important to cover this special edition on Aboriginal culture.
So, what exactly is Aboriginal culture?
I don't know, man. You tell me.
He doesn't know. Do you know? I don't think you know either, so I guess it's up to me to explain that.
Yeah.
But before...
It's up to this guy.
Yeah, it's up to this guy. But before... Wait, this guy. But before I explain Aboriginal culture, or we explain Aboriginal culture, who are the Aboriginals exactly?
Good question.
Good question. Great question. Essentially, they are the original inhabitants of this great land known as Australia. So back when the supercontinents were all still together, the Aboriginals migrated to what is now known as Australia, and I think they've been in this particular landmass here for over 60,000 years.
Wow.
That's a very long time.
Yeah.
And they've amassed a very significant culture. They've amassed, excellent cultural heritage, and they have such a deep and rich history. And surrounding all of that, or the root cause of all of that, is what is known as the Dreamtime.
So it's interesting that you mentioned Dreamtime because it's the cornerstone of Aboriginal culture. And why I say that is it's because it's a way of life that governs them, basically. And it's a spiritual way of life that includes reverence to ancestors, to the spirit, to Mother Nature, respecting Mother Nature. And they do that by basically, rather than living off the land, they live with the land and respect the land in that way.
Yes, and I think that's a testament to their nomadic nature. Basically, each Aboriginal tribe or clan will have their tribal spiritual grounds, and within this area they'll move from camp to camp, and they move quite often so that they don't abuse one specific area. So they try to keep this balance, and what they do is each time they leave a campsite or a spiritual ground, they'll actually burn behind them, so then they can create this regrowth effect. And basically it's just completing this entire circle of life, which really shows you how close they are to the land.
Another way to put, it's kind of like this sustainable ecosystem that they live by. It's like their mantra, basically. So another important aspect of Dreamtime is this concept of storytelling. So there's this story of creation and many tribal stories that are passed on from generation to generation, so they're able to maintain their culture, and this is done through their storytelling aspect, through either general storytelling or the embodiment of storytelling by song and dance.
So funnily enough, with song, they actually have a key instrument that they use known as the didgeridoo.
Or didgeridoo.
The didgeridoo, if you can't play it, which is almost everyone except for the Aboriginals.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like some kind of rite of passage or something. I
think so.
Yeah, I think so. So basically it's this long pipe and you blow into it and they make very rhythmic sounds with it. And to accompany that, they do lots of clapping with the hands, and they also use clap sticks. Exactly. If you can't do either of these, I think you've got a slight issue.
A big issue.
Big issue, there you go. You heard it here live and direct. Cultural connotations, you got a big issue if you can't clap. Yeah. And they accompany all of this with very soulful chanting to, portray one part of the story. And the other half of this is, of course, the dance. So they have very tribal dances, and depending on the type of dance you do, you'll also be telling a certain story or delivering a certain message.
What I find really interesting about storytelling and what Brian was just sharing was that there's this famous saying, which is, facts tell, stories sell. And essentially storytelling is this way that Aborigines are selling the idea of their culture from generation to generation. And this is such an effective way because our brains are basically tuned and governed by storytelling, and it's so easier for us to remember stories. Think about fables, think about myths. We remember these for many years to come.
Definitely.
So if you didn't get any of that explanation that we just gave, think about Red Indians, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great comparison to make because there's so many similarities between the two cultures, despite them being two very different and separate races.
Because they're both indigenous cultures that live with the land and are basically, they do their best to unite with nature.
Yeah.
And now, if that didn't work, Try Avatar, the movie.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the last Airbender here. We're talking about James Cameron.
We're talking about the big, giants that are blue. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Not
Right?
Smurfs. No.
Yeah, not Smurfs, yeah. Big blue tall guys
That's right.
with the tails and stuff, and yeah.
And finally, think of Pocahontas. If that really didn't make sense, the story of Pocahontas gives you a very good understanding of Aboriginals.
Through Red Indian comparison, obviously.
Exactly.
Obviously. And if you don't know that or don't understand that either, then we really can't help you.
Yeah, I
No.
think you might be a lost cause. Sorry.
Just a little bit though.
So now we'd like to put the ball in your court. Please leave us with any thoughts, comments, feedback, and opinions, and also share with us your gems about the Aboriginal culture.
Once again, thanks for watching today, guys. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode. And please stay tuned for episode 2 of this special edition.
Awesome. So please remember to share, like, and subscribe, and also let us know of any topics you'd be passionate for us to cover in the future.
This was brought to you live and directed by Cultural Connotations.
We know it all, we see it all, CCTV.